Yo guys, what's up? It's T-Bot here. Today we're going to be doing a video on the new update changes coming to Clash Royale in the next update. So as usual, Clash Royale actually released a post on their website, on the forums, and also they released a little bit of a notification on the Clash Royale app. You can go ahead and check that out in your inbox. But basically what they're doing is they're buffing a few troops and they're nerfing a few troops. So just people are kind of outraged about this. A lot of people that I've talked to just really hate the new update. Some people think it's pretty good. Let's go ahead and get right into the first thing that they're doing with this game, and they're actually going to be increasing the damage for the Prince by 9%. So it says here that the Prince damage actually terrorizes lower to mid arenas instead of the higher level arenas, in which it's actually supposed to be equal in all of the arenas. So I'm actually reading that off right there off the Clash Royale website. It says that they become less threatening and more damage will help him slice through even the toughest of barbarians. So I definitely can agree with that. I mean, I do not use the Prince whatsoever in Arena 8, and people pretty much stop using the Prince at around Arena 5 or Arena 4. I basically do not see anybody using the Prince, and I think that it needs just a little bit of a damage increase. So now moving on to the Hog Rider, the damage decreased by 6%. So what they're doing is actually trying to nerf a lot of the troops used in the Valkyrie Hog Rider combo deck that people use, and it's just so effective in higher level arenas. And I know personally it's actually really effective, and the replays I'm showing you right now is the deck with the Hog Rider and also the deck with the Valkyrie. So I definitely recommend this deck. I know a few people that actually use this deck, and it says that the Hog Rider is currently the top choice for tower destruction, and I can actually see why Clash Royale would want just an evenly matched up deck and an evenly matched up set of cards. You don't want the Hog Rider to go ahead and dominate the higher level arenas, and the Hog Rider has sort of replaced the Prince, I could say, because the Prince was definitely OP in the beginning of the game. So now let's go ahead and move on to the Pekka. So the damage increased by 8% for the Pekka. Now I haven't seen like a big outcry about the Pekka. I don't think that the Pekka is like overpowered just because it's so incredibly slow, and it says that this change will allow her to kill a barbarian with each swing at tournament levels and make her an even more formidable offensive option. So I don't have too much to say about that. So the next thing that they're doing is actually decreasing the goblin spawn time for the goblin barrel, decreased to 1 second from 1.2 seconds, and the reason for this is that people were just not using the goblin barrel. And I know that the goblin barrel was just so OP, especially when you put like a rage spawn on top of it, or you double goblin barrel. I mean, you could take out an entire tower, and just people are just not using it anymore, especially in the higher level arenas. Tell me down below if you still use some of these cards, or if you will continue using these cards after this new update comes out. So now let's go ahead and get into the next thing, and this is that the Expo deploy time decreased to 4 seconds from 5 seconds, and the hit points are also increased by 18%. So obviously the Expo has just been completely nerfed since pretty much I think the first update or the second update Clash Royale actually hit us with, and the Expo was just not used after that. So the Expo definitely got a huge nerf. Now they're trying to buff it up a little bit. So they definitely over-nerf things and they over-buff things in different updates, and they're just trying to balance everything out completely. I don't know if they're actually going to do that and make people use the Expo more. Everybody just hates the Expo, so maybe this is going to solve the problem of the Expo. Now also moving on to the Mortar, it says the same principle as the Expo. I can definitely agree with that. I don't think I've ever seen somebody use a Mortar in Arena 8, like at all. So that pretty much explains that. Also, Furnace lifetime increased to 50 seconds from 40 seconds. So I can see how, the Furnace isn't actually used that much. I rarely see it in Arena 8. I mean, occasionally you do, but they are going to go ahead and increase it by 10 seconds for its lifetime. So also the guards now have a removed pushback effect when their shields break. So removing the pushback will allow the ruthless Bone Brothers to get in a couple of extra jabs and hopefully complete for a spot in your battle deck. So this hasn't been used very much in Clash Royale. It's a little bit more popular in the lower level arenas, but again, not in the higher level arenas. Now moving on to the Witch, damage increased by 17%. Now I do see the Witch pretty often in Arena 8, so I don't know exactly why they're doing this. It says that our previous change didn't get her to the viable level we were hoping for. This change will, for example, allow her to kill minions in 3 hits instead of 4 hits. So I always place like minions down around to counter the Witch, and it just seems to do the job. So maybe this is actually going to help balance out the game a little bit more. Also, the Hound damage increased by 28%. So I don't exactly know if this is a great idea. The Lava Hound right now just takes so many hits. It's the flying golem of the air, and you can pretty much see it on the screen right now. It's just so hard to take down, and the lava pups just do so much damage when they get over to your actual building. So I don't think that's a very good idea in my personal opinion. Let me know what you think down below in the comment section. Moving on to the skeletons, they now spawn 3 instead of 4. So that's a major change. I always use skeletons to counter things like the prince, if the prince is actually used, or things like the hog rider. I know the skeletons definitely do some work on that, or the mini Pekka, or the regular Pekka, or the musketeer. They're just used so often, and I think removing one skeleton really just messes up the entire deck. I just don't like how that works out. I think that the skeletons right now aren't OP. I think that they're just a good viable option, and I think that that's gonna cause a lot of people not to use skeletons anymore. Now, moving on to the defensive cards, the cannon hit points have been decreased by 8%, and the Tesla hit points have been increased by 8%, so they're trying to balance out the defensive cards in the game, and I can see why they're trying to do that. Not a lot of people use the Tesla, and I wouldn't mind using the Tesla, but I just prefer the one that is just better overall, and I think that the cannon is just a great option, especially to do a little bit of tanking in the front, take a little bit of the hits from the Royal Giant, and while also actually providing hits to the Royal Giant and other troops like that. That pretty much wraps up the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you guys want free gems, click the first link down in the description or click the link on the right side of your screen, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.